Shotgun with Charlie.
Riding shotgun refers to the practice of sitting next to the driver in a moving vehicle. The term riding shotgun came around after the time of the stagecoach, when somebody used to sit next to the driver holding a shotgun, in case they ran into bandits. My name is Charlie Cook, and I drive a lot. I like to talk to people while I'm driving, so I interview people in my car while I'm driving. Welcome to Riding Shotgun with Charlie. All right, welcome to this episode of Riding Shotgun with Charlie. Today we are in Lexington, Kentucky, and I have with me a gun business insider, Hank Yacek. Hank, thank you so much for being on the show.
Morning, Charlie.
Let's drive.
Yes.
I don't want to say I've never been to Kentucky. I've been through Kentucky.
That's what most people say.
I always tell people I'm from Illinois, and it's a good place to be from.
Mm-hmm.
Get the hell out. Anyway, so we've got Hank in the car. You've been in the gun biz for a long time.
A few years.
Since you were a young child, right?
Well, the business proper since '87, but was started off as a competitive shooter when I was 9.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and traveled all over the U.S. as a skeet shooting referee when I was 14.
Oh, all right. Let's go back. So how did you become a gun guy? You got into it. I mean, you were.
It's
shooting
been a family thing. It's a family thing. You know,
even from being from Connecticut, huh?
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Grew up as a nutmegger. Yep. But
Nice.
Shot on a junior rifle team.
Yeah.
And it's funny when you think back and you look back into the old days. We used to travel from town to town. You know, we competed against different teams, and about, no joke, you know, you may not believe me, but about half of the teams we competed against had shooting ranges in the high school.
We're the same age, and I don't remember anything like this.
Yeah. About half the teams we competed against had shooting ranges in the high schools.
Wow.
I think you could get that to happen today.
Yeah,
I don't think
not
so.
Not so much. Yeah, you can't. So I teach band at a bunch of Catholic schools, and I went through this stage where I was really into the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Mm-hmm.
Like I tried watching it. I could never make it to the end because I thought it was too slow. And finally, I was married with kids, and I needed time away. And so I locked myself in the room. I watched the good, the bad, and the ugly. I made it to the end. I ran out. I'm like, oh my God, this is the greatest movie. The tight scenes with the eyes and everything. Mm-hmm. And I went to one of my schools, and I said, hey, I want to do a band arrangement of the good, the bad, and the ugly. And I want to have the drummers in the back using cap guns. And the principal said to me, she's like, Charlie, if anyone brings a gun into the school, then we send them in for a psychological evaluation. And I'm like, so is that a no?
That sounds like a no to me.
Right. So anyway, yeah, shooting in the schools.
Absolutely, yeah. Rifle teams, I mean, they had it all set up super nice. It was great, and it wasn't like we thought anything different. I mean, shoot, back then, go to high school, we used to have guns in the racks of our trucks in the parking lot.
Yes, I remember some of those kids. They'd go hunting before school and go shoot squirrels and stuff. Mm-hmm. So that leads to being a shotgun referee.
Yes. Yeah. So through that, used to go down to a local gun shop, and one of the guys there, you know, went to buy my ammo when I would go buy my better quality ammo for when I would go into the championship competition, stuff like that, and just got to know me and said, hey, why don't you come work for me over the summers? You'll be on the road Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Mm-hmm. And I was making, at 14 years old, this is the 1980s, mind. 14 years old, I'm making anywhere from $150 to $300 a weekend.
Oh my God!
At 14 years old, and to give it context for the younger viewers out there, this is when minimum wage was $3.
When I worked at McDonald's, minimum wage was $3.35.
Yes.
Oh my God!
So it was good money. It was really good money. I mean, granted, you're sitting out there, in the blazing sun, pushing a button and writing little scores on paper all day long. It's pretty sunburning, let's just say.
Sure, but you don't come home smelling like fries.
No. No, I come home smelling like money.
That's cool.
Yes, it was a great way to sort of cut my teeth in the industry. And then the same guy that asked me to come work for him as a referee worked at that shop and recommended me after knowing me for a few years to the owner of the shop. When I turned 17, I went and started working at the shop, and that's when I got into the retail side of the business.
It's very cool. Now, after that, you took some time off to go to college?
Yeah, I took a little time off to go to college, then came back to the industry to sort of kind of get back on my feet. I knew I could jump right back in, get some income coming in, work for another shop, and work for them for a while, and then said, you know what, I could do this better than they can, and opened up my own shop.
That's cool.
And quickly realized, oh wow, there's a whole lot I don't know.
Right. What did you go to school for?
Went to school for wildlife biology.
Wildlife biology?
Yes, I'm a wildlife biologist by trade, but not by practice.
So how does that turn into, getting in the gun industry or owning a gun store? But
part of it, with the affinity for hunting and all that through wildlife biology and all that stuff got me into the guns and thought I could parlay something I enjoy doing into a career, and as, a lot of us do, we go through college and then end up doing something totally different.
Right. I'm going to take a left. All right.
Basically, here's what it comes down to. When I was finishing up my degree to go be a state wildlife biologist, just started sort of apprenticing with some folks that were already in the industry, and quickly came to the understanding that it was not a career style income. It was sort of like a second income for a family kind of deal. And said, oh crap, I'm kind of pot committed there. What other options do I have? I've been doing this gun thing for a while.
Yeah.
How about I go and just double down on the gun side of things? And that's kind of the route I went and stayed with it ever since.
That's really cool. So you open up a gun shop.
Yep.
Open up a gun shop, and that really made you realize there's a lot more to it than...
Oh, gosh, yeah. I mean, like I said, I was a sales guy from 87 up until, 2004. So that's a long run, and you think, man, I can do this better than these owners can and all, but you don't realize the procurement side and the managing the business side and, the signing the fronts of checks side of the business,
right.
not the backs of the checks. And there's a whole another world around there. And that's kind of where my advocacies come when I've gone through, owned my own shop, sold it off. And now with consulting work that I do is to helping folks that are growing a hobby into a business on how to be better business people, because all too often they jump in without a business background and get just confronted with, a Mike Tyson punch to the face of what running a business is like.
Sure. Yeah, this is one of these things. Like my son's going to school for accounting, and I don't know if it's a good career or a bad career choice, but I do know that everybody needs an accountant, right? So,
well, at least for those that do file taxes.
The successful people need, like the people that have money, they need accountants. And I was like, dude, you can be an accountant for, if you're into shoes, you can be an accountant for a shoe company. Or if you're into music, I don't know, be an accountant for...
Who would want to be in music?
I don't know. I'm thinking successful people. That's what I'm thinking. Not band teachers. But, recording companies and
sure.
Maybe on a music store, record label. Somebody like that, everybody needs an accountant, so I think that's a good career choice.
Oh yeah.
And I said, if you can take that knowledge and information, all right. If you can take that knowledge and information and turn that into a career and work in a business that you love, but still do something where you get to make some money, then that's cool.
Oh yeah, and I find a lot of the most successful people that I know have taken two seemingly unrelated job subject matters and find a way to connect them,
together,
and suddenly they're so unique and indispensable that they can really dominate a market space.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah,
that is very cool. So your business is Point of
Impact. Yep, Point of Impact. We're a range and retail consulting firm, so it's how to be a better business owner, not just in general, but specific to the firearms industry.
Gotcha. Now, what kind of things can people do to improve their businesses? Like, what kind of things do you think everybody should be doing?
Yeah, the first one, and I say this, to any business owner, is you got to find who are you accountable to. When you set goals for your business, when you define what defines success in your business beyond just, is there cash in the checking account at the end of the week?
Right.
You got it, whether it's a mentor, a group of other business owners, or even just a written business plan that's holding yourself accountable to reach certain goals, because otherwise I find that business owners are hardwired to find success all the time and will always define success in some capacity. But at the end of the day, there's some fundamentals that you have to look at for a business. As I always tell people, ask them, what's the first rule of good customer service? And I get all sorts of great answers of what good customer service looks like. Mm-hmm. And I always kind of rebut it. Well, with being open is the first rule of good customer service.
Having customers?
You can't give any customer service if you're not open. And so you have to look at the business fundamentals of how much cash flow do I need to be coming through the business to keep it open and to be able to do all the things I want to do, not just for me, but for my customers, to give them a place to come and enjoy our industry.
Sure. Yeah, this is the stuff that you don't think about when you haven't been a business owner and you haven't been exposed to this sort of stuff. Is you've got to have a building, you've got to be able to pay the bills,
yep.
You've got to be able to have
pay
inventory,
employees.
You got to pay employees, you got to do all this stuff before you get to bring a dime home.
Right. Yeah, the owners feed last usually, which makes it tough. But it's a rewarding industry. It's a ton of fun. You get to play with cool toys and go to cool conventions and all that kind of stuff. And there's a lot of rewarding aspects to it as well too.
Yeah, there are. So, how big was your store when you had it?
Yeah, my store, the physical size of my store wasn't all that big. It was about 1,300 square foot, retail only showroom space. Yep. But we were doing about $3 million a year out of that space.
Wow!
So we were doing a fair amount.
That's really cool. Yeah. And it's guns and accessories and ammo. And
it was guns, accessories, and archery as well too.
And archery.
Yep, we did archery stuff as well.
Really?
Yep.
Any competitive archery stuff?
I did. I shot IBO for a number of years. I wasn't super competitive at it. It was more a thing to go do, have fun, and take some of the employees, have a little team, get little rivalries going, kind of stuff.
That's
Plus,
cool.
When you participate in a competitive sport within your industry, you get a deeper sense of like, what are the products out there and the lingo, and you get to people see you out participating, and it gives you a different level of credibility than just being the guy inside the four walls of the store. So I always encourage folks that own stores to have a little competitive team that goes out to events and shoots and competes, not with the goal to dominate, beat everybody, but to just interact and
to have some camaraderie.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's really cool. That is really cool. I had a little stint where I enjoyed archery.
Mm-hmm.
Right, I wanted to get a bow. And arrows, so I ended up getting one. I'm one of these guys. Is after I learn how to do something, I think I can teach it to everybody else.
Right.
Somehow this is a problem.
Yes.
But I did this obviously with music, and then I did this as a gun guy, and then I got into archery, and I'm like, oh man, I should become a archery instructor and start a business. And I'm like, what the hell am I doing? I just like shooting a bow and slinging arrows.
Yeah.
Let's just let it be that.
Find your thing.
Yeah, absolutely. So, do you help businesses all around the country?
All over the country, west to east, north to south. I haven't ventured outside of the lower 48 yet. I'm hoping to someday. Give me a reason to go travel outside the country. But yeah, no, I help folks all over the country.
What? So I've got a friend that's got. I've got some friends that have gun ranges.
Yeah.
What? You hear these people? It's a 5-star gun range, 6-star gun range.
Yeah.
What?
6-star. Yeah, I kind of like that extra star on it.
Right. What do you have to do to get those sorts of rankings?
Yeah, the 5-star system is through the National Shooting Sports Foundation, NSSF, and they've got pretty much a checklist of things that you have to do, provide, sort of to give an industry best practices sort of angle on what it takes to be an operation that is not only run right but run safely, doing all the right things, so that when customers are coming to visit, that they have a great representative experience of what our industry can really be like. So that's how you go about it. Get it, or you just self-appoint yourself as a 6-star facility.
Right. That's very well. So what kind of things should gun ranges have? I know that gun ranges have really been stepping it up.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, indoor plumbing.
Yes.
Electricity.
Yes. Clean bathrooms.
It's always a benefit because the one of the growing demographics is women.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's funny. travel to dozens and dozens of shops across the country in various, either brand new, just opening, or ones that have been around for generations and want to improve their business or what have you. But many times I get the standard answer of, who do you want your customer to be? And they're like, we want to be family friendly and friendly to women where they're comfortable in our store. And I'll look at them, I'm like, but your logo on the front door is like a skull and crossbones with flames shooting out of its ears. I don't see the connection here exactly. You might want to do a little rebranding here, but
Right.
But even for more standard stores and things like that, one of the things that obviously a lot of our businesses are owned and run by what I would call the stale, pale, and male demographic.
Yes.
A bunch of old white guys.
Where did you get stale, pale, and male?
Yes.
Where did you get that phrase from?
I've heard it around the industry a few different places.
Because I got it from Michael Schwartz.
Yes, I've heard it all over the place. But with that, I said, you say you're female friendly in your store, but what does that mean?
What do you really do?
And they stammer and stumble and can't articulate it very well.
Right.
And I say, here's a goal. Then take your team, take each person on your team and tell them to go do this individually, not with their girlfriend, their spouse, or go as a group. And I tell them, go to Victoria's Secret and buy 3 garments of clothes. And then afterwards, go back and return said garments of clothes back to the store. And once you've gone and done that, you will fundamentally understand what it's like to be the wrong gender in a business. And you will probably reassess just how female-friendly your store really is. Because female-friendly doesn't mean you ogle the good-looking girl when she comes into the store. That's not female-friendly.
That's awesome. Yeah, I like to go into Victoria's Secret and say, my girlfriend wears something just about your size.
Yeah, right. But it really, and I've had ones that have done it. And they're like, wow, it really did give me a new perspective on what it means to be the wrong gender in business.
Right.
And they've done things to turn the course in their business and try and make it more specific to women.
That's really cool. That is good. Yeah, it's I've been to some ranges that are really, really nice places. In Massachusetts, we've got a few ranges, but a lot of places where we can shoot are sportsmen's clubs.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm one of these guys, like, when people say, you pay the range fee. I'm like, well, what's a range fee?
Right.
Right? I'm like, you have to be a member of the club to go shoot there, and then you just go shoot. And I'm like, no, you can go to different clubs. Like, you can be a free agent. I don't get what this is like. Like, you can go to this club if you want, and then go to another club and go to another one.
Yep.
Like in Massachusetts, there's a few places where you can go, but for the most part, it's just sportsmen's clubs.
Right, big open fields.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, maybe an indoor range.
Yeah, indoor ranges are expensive to operate. Between the air handling units and the filtration systems and all that.
Yep.
The whatever a range is charging, I can promise you they're charging the least price they can, and still being able to pay for operating a very expensive facility.
Yeah, the one club that I belong to is I belong to this place called Worcester Pistol and Rifle Club, and
Worcester, not Worcester.
Yes, Worcester.
Gotta make sure we get it right.
That's right. Sometimes it's the Worcester.
Yes.
WISTA. How do you spell it? WRCESTER.
Yes.
But yeah, the Worcester Pistol and Rifle Club, they have like when I first joined, it was a cinder block building with crank.
Crank retrievers for the targets.
Retrievers.
Oh yeah, I remember those.
They did have indoor plumbing. It was mostly indoors. There were a couple holes in the wall.
That's something else, my friend.
Yeah. But the president decided to redo the building, and he raised, oh my gosh, $600,000 somehow. And they rebuilt the building, so they still have a 50-foot indoor range, but they redid everything. They have two toilets. There's a classroom upstairs. And now they have electronic target retrieval systems, which are really cool. And it's a really nice place.
That's cool.
Yeah. Before that, it was, and they still have the outdoor range as well, which is cool. So we need to. I think they.
You can just keep going. No, you can keep going.
Thanks. You got to give me a warning, man.
Yeah, no, they didn't. The old sign got taken down on northbound, so we're just going to go this way for a little while. We're going to enjoy the scenery of Kentucky.
All right. Anyway, so we got to find a way to get more, to make it more entertaining is not the right word, more inviting for women, which is cool. All right, what else?
What else? Yeah, what else do we got to do? More about me?
Yeah.
Golly, gee
You and
willikers.
Point of Impact.
Yeah, I own Point of Impact. Yeah, we work with a lot of folks, speak at a lot of the conventions and events. SHOT Show, I'm a perennial speaker there.
Oh, that's
But
cool.
the industry has given me a good life, and with the work that I do with educating folks and consulting and all that, what really drives me is just giving back to the industry, the lumps and bumps that I've gotten over, learning how to run a business, by sort of the life of hard knocks, and just helping folks not run into those same difficulties to run their business, and have a more fruitful business. Because it's a great industry. It's full of great people that do really great things. All walks of life that come into the business, but you can't find hardly a friendlier industry.
I agree. It's one of the things that I find frustrating talking to my non-gun friends is how they think that everyone's pale, mainland, stale, and that I actually had some friends of mine tell me that they knew me before I was a gun guy. This is a pretty cool bridge here.
Yeah.
They knew me before I was a gun guy, so otherwise they thought all gun guys were members of Duck Dynasty.
Right.
And I'm like, yeah, that's not really what it is, And the more people that I meet, the more people become super friendly. And
well, it's like the old saying goes: an armed society is a polite society. So.
Right. Yeah, and that expands out to I tell folks, I carry knives and guns when I go places, and I do this, and I don't want to piss people off. Because
right.
I don't want to do that anyway, but I'm not going to do this because I now carry these tools with me.
Yep. But it's like the old saying goes, God created man, Sam Cole made him equal.
Right, I love that one.
But that is the beauty of an armed society that can defend themselves, is everyone's on an equal footing at that point, especially if you take some training. Just owning a gun isn't enough. You've got to go out and do the work.
Yeah, you really do. All right, 1 lane road ahead.
1 lane road. That's just half of Kentucky.
Are we gonna hear banjos soon?
Pretty soon. You're letting me direct you in where we're going.
I don't know where we're going, man. I don't know if I can find my way back. Oh my gosh.
Nah, Kentucky's a beautiful state. More people should come down to visit it. That's for sure.
Yeah, my daughter came up here for Thanksgiving last year. She's going to college in Nashville, and she's got a friend in Kentucky, and she said they came up and had a great time. She's looking forward to going this year.
What's funny though, you were talking about women in the industry and all that. There's so many other demographics and categories and things like that. But another really neglected category in our industry, and I was privileged and fortunate enough to take part in a big survey in this industry and find out different demographics, who participates, who buys product in our industry and all that. And in the results of it, we found that 25% of the buying public in the firearms industry space identifies Democrats.
Really?
And, yeah, 25%. We're at 25 to 27%, depending on the study that we did. And the thing I would love to see, is have a Arm a Democrat month in the country, or, like we just focus on being welcoming to Democrats and bring them in and say, here, go shoot, enjoy yourself, put that grin ear to ear after you go to the range, see what we're really like, and that we're not, a bunch of crazy yahoos out there just, slinging guns all the time.
Right. All right, what are we doing?
We're just following this road.
Okay.
Just keep on trucking.
All right.
Yeah, you can take a left here. Then you're going to get on.
We got to follow this one. It's the T intersection here.
Yeah, you can't go straight anymore. We're going to go that way.
All right.
Can't get that from here.
Yeah, exactly. Well, so arming Democrats. So this is I guess this is a struggle I have because I don't want to not have people in the community. You know what I mean? So it's hard, particularly when you talk politics and guns. It's hard not to get, we going north or south?
North.
All right. It's hard not to talk politics when you say, hey, listen, these, this standard capacity magazine, this has more than 10 rounds, and then you hear these people say, having more than 10 rounds is a high cap magazine, and those are illegal, and all this sort of stuff. it's hard to say. Yeah, well, listen, there's one party that wants to make it so that it's harder for us to have these things,
Mhm.
and these things aren't good or bad in and of themselves. It's just what they are. This just holds more of whatever.
Yeah, it's just more, right?
Yeah.
Your car's got a bigger gas tank than that car does, or whatever, right? Or your car can do 120 miles an hour in a country that has a speed limit of 70. Like, why do you need that extra speed capacity, right?
70. So, I love this. In Massachusetts, it's 65. Everyone does 85.
Right, because they have extra capacity.
Right, to push the
throttles, right?
Exactly. I had a friend of mine, the guy that I work with. He's a musician and he's a music teacher. He actually asked me. He said, hey, this is 2020. He reached out. He's like, hey man, things are really, I'm really nervous. I'm really scared. I want to be able to protect myself. Would you take me to the range? Yeah, absolutely. I'll teach you how to shoot. And I said, in Massachusetts, you got to take a class, and then apply for the license and everything. So you can't just go to a gun store and buy a gun.
Right.
But I'd be happy to do this. He's like, even though I'm a Democrat, I'm like, yeah, I still think you should be able to protect yourself.
Absolutely.
I'm like, you're not going to shoot me, but if you do, I'll shoot you back.
Right.
Right. But I don't think you have ill intent.
Right. And that's what it's all about. It's everybody, not just people who align with one party. Everybody should have the right to be able to protect themselves on an equal footing with whether it's a thug across the way, or a government that wants to be tyrannical or whatever.
Yeah, I also tell people, I say, I know that rulings change things, particularly in occupied territory. But when people say, well, what do I tell the police when I want a gun? I said, don't tell them you want to overthrow the government.
Yeah, no. That would be a good place to start not saying yes.
Don't tell them you want to shoot zombies, and don't tell them you want to shoot clowns, but have a gun for all of those reasons.
Clowns.
Right? Just don't tell the cops this. You'll be fine.
Right.
But if you say you want to overthrow the government, now you might seem like a crazy extremist. And
well, it's like my mom used to work in the court system as a secretary, and she used to tell me a similar thing. She goes, if you ever want to get out of jury duty, she goes, you just sit down, and when they ask you some of those questions, you say, well, they arrested him. He must be guilty. You'll never get on a jury ever again in your life.
See, I've got mixed feelings about this. I served on a jury once, and I hate saying I served on a jury. I was in my 20s. I saw it as a day off at school, so I went out and enjoyed myself the night before. I was young, I was single, didn't have any kids, so I went out. I may have had too much to drink, and I got up. Yeah, I got up. I'm a little hungover. I went in, I sat down, I got picked. I kept falling asleep.
Oh my!
Every time they did a sidebar, I had that little guilt. I'm not even Catholic, but I had the Catholic guilt.
When you heard sidebar, you thought they were serving cocktails.
No, but I thought they were talking about me. They're like, "Hey, juror number 7 can't stay awake. We got to start over." And then we made it through lunchtime, and then the attorney came in at lunchtime, and he's like, "Yeah, somebody brought up something they weren't supposed to bring anything out. Somebody brought up something they weren't supposed to talk about, so we're letting you guys go." We're like, well, what is it? What happens now? And he's like, we start the whole process over again tomorrow with 12 new people or 18 new people and whittle it down to 12. I'm like, this is ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
But there's part of me that this was in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
This is the last time I get called for jury duty, and with the algorithms, who knows, after I put the video up, who knows, maybe I get called in again. But I think I'm a little crazy. I'd like to be on a jury.
Oh, absolutely. It's a great privilege of being part of society. Everyone looks at it as a drag and but it's like, no, you get to be part of the judicial system in our country, and that's a real privilege in a free country.
Yes, it is. You get to be that person. That you could be that one juror that says, hey, listen, I think he was a little bit innocent, and then whatever.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely.
It's a beautiful part of our country that allows the citizenry to sort of help the country navigate, the legal future of our country, and it's a real privilege as a free country, which our Constitution, Second Amendment, First Amendment, all those things, are pieces of what give us that privilege to be able to set our destiny as a country.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, it's a fun industry to be involved with. That is for sure. You know, it's an industry rooted in history. You know, it's very American. You know, you can get out there and thump your chest and say I'm a proud American and a proud American gun owner and things like that.
I remember the first time I went shooting. I took a NRA basic pistol class.
Yeah.
And never fired a gun before.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I've ever held a gun. But I went shooting for the first time, and I swear I was like, "This is the coolest thing ever."
Yeah.
Do other people know
I've
about this?
never taken anybody to the range and not had them smiling ear to ear after their experience. Even when like, oh wow, that kicks harder than I thought. I mean, even in a pain-inducing moment, they're still grinning ear to ear. So that tells you, you know, that the beauty of this industry and the freedoms that it affords you, and the symbolic aspect of it just proves that, you know, we are a free country. And, you know, why people want to tarnish that, you know, makes me sad. But if only they were to go out and arm a Democrat. Let's take them out to the range and show them that this is a good thing and it's not something to be feared.
You talk to enough people, start a campaign,
Yeah.
start a website, I'm a Democrat.
I'm a Democrat, absolutely. Because, you know, in life, when you think about a lot of the things that we fear, or some people even go to the point of getting the energy to legislate against, it's the things they don't know. How many people do you see up on Capitol Hill legislating against firearms, that you would consider to be experts in the industry? None of them. It's the folks that don't have that deep, rich knowledge and understanding of what the firearms industry is. They're the ones that are advocating against it.
Right.
Anything is like that. You know, someone who's, you know, never driven a car before is usually pretty scared of driving that car the first time they get out there. We fear the unknown.
Yeah, that's a good point. That is a really good point. A lot of times you see politicians that think an arm brace is a bump stock.
Or a 30-round clip magazine, semi-auto, automatic feed.
Yes, a fully semi-automatic.
Fully semi-automatic, yes, absolutely.
What it really shows me is that the politicians are wrong in the vernacular that they use. And I am one of these guys that says, hey, we need to be unified and stuff. But the politicians that don't know anything, they go out, and my deal is they make themselves look like idiots, particularly the gun folks. Yeah, and then I start to say, well, if they're wrong on my issue,
oh yeah,
what else are they wrong on?
Oh, absolutely. Oh, I've experienced that myself many times. You know, quoting, you know, talking to newspapers and things like that, and you know, they'll take sound bites and piece things together, and they'll totally either misquote me or misrepresent things. And then you start to question, you go, well, if they're that wrong on the things that I know about, are they that wrong on all the other things as well, too? And it really puts a question mark on their ability to deliver information that I can trust.
Yeah, totally. All right, so where do you think the gun industry is going? You've been in the biz for a long time.
Yeah, gun industry will be here for a long time, you know. Look at during the Clinton administration era where we had capacity bans and AR-15 restrictions and things like that. Now, what was the fruit of that era? Hey, the companies focused on firearms that could be as small as possible and still cram 10 rounds into it. And that's where we have all these, you know, ultra compact 9mm that hold 10 rounds a day. So there was actually a dividend to those processes. But where are we going from here? You know, it's hard to say. It's going to be always a battle. It's, you know, it's nothing new. I've been around the industry over 30 years, and it's always been in a state of, you know, putting in our feet in the ground and saying, no, we're not going to budge. I think the future is bright for our industry. There's a lot of opportunities for innovation.
Yeah.
You know, we're seeing much more involvement from operators. It used to be in the gun industry, it was a bunch of gun shops. And then here and there, you'd have this holy grail mecca opportunity where there was an indoor range, you know, and they were few and far between. Now today, opening up a range is just par for the course along with the retail shop. So people have more opportunity and more places to go shoot than ever before.
Yep. Well, we'll keep going.
Okay.
I think it'd be interesting to have more gun stores that have ranges, because I have a lot of clients that take a class, they want to learn how to shoot, they want to take things for a test drive.
Yeah.
And they're, particularly in Massachusetts, there's only a few places I think where you can go rent guns. And like I said, maybe this is just
and you bring up a really great point, and I'm glad you brought it up. One thing that shop owners really need to, particularly ones that have been around for a long time, or even multi-generational stores, there's a large percentage of people coming into the industry that we think had the same upbringing that we did, that dad or an uncle or some family friend sort of cut our teeth on firearms by taking us out to out to a farm or out to the desert or wherever we live in the country and go cut our teeth on shooting.
Yeah.
Where there is I wouldn't even say a bunch, but maybe almost a majority of people out there today have no mentor that introduced them to the industry, and the gun ranges are those places now, and they come in as a clean slate, and we are that dad, we are that uncle or that friend that's taking them out shooting for the first time. And with that, even when you think of yourself as an individual who has been around guns your whole life, there's kind of a weaning in process where at first you're borrowing friends' guns and you're using other people's firearms and you're going to their farm and you're taking their shotgun and going, skeet shooting for the first time, what have you. We have to do that for these folks. Gun ranges need to understand that a lot of times the first 3, 4, 5, 10 times that they come to the range, they may just want to rent the industry. Just come in, rent a firearm, buy a box of ammo, go put some bullets in your backstop and go home and not buy anything.
Right.
And that's okay. But we have to put that cap on of being the mentor for these folks to softly bring them into the industry.
Yeah.
And not make it like some tactical Timmy type operation that they've got to be some high speed, low drag, operator like they see with the Navy SEALs in a week.
Sure.
It's, hey, just let them come in on their own terms, but be welcoming and saying, hey, let's just go shoot. Nothing more. Nothing less. Let's just go shoot.
Let's put some holes in targets.
Let's go have some fun.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be really good, particularly for new people. Again, in the states where you have to have licenses.
Yeah.
I hate picking on I love picking on my state, but I hate picking on my state. You can't buy anything without having a license. So if somebody wants to go from, hey, I think I want to go shooting, or I think it might be interesting to get a gun, to actually getting a gun, it's an easy $800 to $1,000 investment.
Yeah, the barrier to entry is unfair, and I think there should be easier conveyances to get to that point. You almost look at it, $800 for some people, that's an insurmountable barrier.
Oh my gosh,
to entry,
absolutely.
Someone just wants to go and say, hey, I just want to have a $300, used Glock or something like that. Learn on it, be taught on it, on how to use it safely and with acumen, and keep it in the nightstand to defend my home, and that's it. And that's as much as they want to participate. Right. But an $800, cost to entry really puts people off. And that's unfair. And that should not be that way whatsoever. What happened to that part shall not be infringed part? When did that kind of, become kind of wishy-washy?
I've become a guy that everything's infringement. Getting a license is infringement. Having qualifications infringement, like doing the background check. Everything's infringement because you're stopping someone from being able to make a purchase.
Or to defend them, the way I look at it, to defend themselves on even terms.
Yeah.
There's no hope when you look at it from a societal perspective of, a 5'1", 110-pound woman going downtown or into a parking garage, being able to defend herself from a 250-pound, 6-foot-tall guy, right? There's no chance that she's going to be able to do that. Even if she takes some personal defense classes from like a karate or, martial arts type perspective, a man that's double her size is just going to simply overpower her.
Yeah.
But a firearm allows you to level that playing field and defend yourself in an appropriate way.
Yeah, it is definitely the equalizer. And it's crazy to think that, I know we often use a little old lady, but it's crazy to think that a little old lady would have to have enough martial arts skills to kick the asses of three dudes.
Right.
That seems completely ridiculous.
Well, and it is. And again, there's a whole bunch of other facets. We can get into the whole defending ourselves from the government and all that. But by and large, in my opinion, it boils down to people should be allowed to have peace of mind. And that is, I can defend myself to a certain degree. I own a firearm. I have that peace of mind in the back of my mind that lets me sleep at night, knowing that if something did go south,
I've got a way.
I got a way to help myself and my family and defend those that I care about and love.
Yeah.
And that, if nothing else, is the most important part of it, is to be able to live that life without nagging at the back of your brain to say, I can't go there because I can't defend myself, or I never go, into this environment because I can't defend myself.
Right.
Why limit people in that kind of capacity in a country like we have?
Amen. All right. We're almost where we need to be. Let's wrap things up.
Yeah.
So how can people find you, and how can they find Point of Impact?
Yeah, Point of Impact. You can look at me for pointofimpactgroup.com. Yeah, it's a really long name, but hey, it was the only one available at the time that I didn't have to pay $10,000 for. But yeah, pointofimpactgroup.com, or look for me at SHOT Show. I speak there almost every year. We just had NSSF Expo. Spoke there. Speak at the archery trade show if you're an archery folk. Look for me there. I'm all over the industry, doing all sorts of great stuff to help folks see and find their dream in the firearms industry from a business ownership perspective.
Cool. That is awesome. All right, we're going to pull over here, and we're going to get out of traffic so we can close things up. I'm sure the people think I'm nuts.
Woohoo.
I'm kind of used to it. All right, listen, Hank, thank you so much for being on the show.
Absolutely.
I really appreciate this. I appreciate you reaching out and taking the time.
Yeah.
Please check out Hank at pointofimpactgroup.com. This is one of these things nobody told me about.
Mm-hmm.
When I had the idea for writing Shotgun with Charlie, I had no idea that it was such a mouthful.
Yeah.
And that it's a long website. And right. Nobody told me this. This is something to tell people.
Absolutely.
And I think it's a pretty simple title, but people still can screw it up.
Oh,
Turn
absolutely.
it into Ride Along with Shotgun. I'm always freaked out when they're like a drive-by with Charlie.
Mm-hmm.
That's not what
that's not what we want. And riding shotgun isn't about drinking beers out the side of the can either, right?
No.
No.
That's my other channel. Right? Yeah. Anyway, we thank you guys for tuning into the show. If you are not a member of the Second Amendment Foundation, please go to saf.org and join there. It's only $150 for a lifetime membership. You can help support them at ccrbka.org. That's the Committee for the Citizens' Right to Keep and Bear Arms. You can check out all of your favorite podcasts at sdrn.us. That is the Self-Defense Radio Network. And if you've made it this far, please share the show with your friends. This is how we get the stagecoach across America. Hank, thank you so much. I'm looking forward to running into you at the SHOT Show.
Looking forward
and all
to
these other cool things. This is going to be great. I love expanding my circle of friends. And to me, this is one of the objectives of having a show.
Hey, thanks for having me on. Keep driving safe and shotgunning along.
All right. Awesome. Thanks, man.
Thanks, man.